Hello everyone, welcome back to Base Damage, hope you're all doing well. Later this week we are going to be having Nikke dropping, and I figured it would be a good idea to go over the trial deck real quick again, just to see if you were interested in picking up Nikke, how strong the trial deck would be. I went over the trial deck with my good buddy Timmy in our recent first impressions video, but that's also like a 2-hour long video. I can understand if you don't want to watch through 2 hours just to get the nitty gritty. TLDR, Nikke is an amazingly good set. I know there's a lot of people who are dreading what they call the Nikke apocalypse. So I think it's going to be a very interesting set to see, especially when Worlds happens and everything. So I wanted to see how good the trial deck could possibly be if we did a couple upgrades to it. So first I wanted to go over the trial deck itself, and I have to do it here on the simulator because it is not in deck log at the time of recording this. We do not have it in deck log just yet. So I figured I'm just going to have to do the best I can with what I got, and the simulator is better than some other sources that we have. So we're going to take a look at each of the cards first, and I just kind of put 2 of each in here because this is like all the trial deck cards in general. The only other ones that I put 4 of in here are obviously the climaxes. There was no +2 soul climax, which I thought was funny, but we do have a choice trigger and a salvage trigger that were in each of the trial decks. So I figured this was the ones that work with the climax combos. I would put those in there, and I would also put a playset of the level 1. So let's get into it. The Brainstorm is your typical pay 1, rest itself, mill 5, draw Brainstormer from every trial deck. It does have a very interesting effect, though. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can choose a card in your hand and put it into your stock, which means, like, turn 1, you could use this. This could also combo with another card. This would let you Brainstorm instantly, like turn 1, but it also would let you combo with another card coming up. We're going to go ahead and look at it right... Where are you? Is this one? Snow White. We're going to... No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I did not go far enough. This was the on attack search. It is Scarlet. I've already confused this twice tonight talking about this deck with Moroku. It has an effect to put the top card of your stock into your clock for the cost to look at up to 6 cards from the top of your deck to add a Nikke to hand. You would be able to turn 1, use this effect to do this to try to go ahead and get like your searches off and everything. And that's just really neat. So that can have some synergy with some of the other cards in your deck, which is really nice. Next, we are going to look at Busy Bee Yulha. This is just kind of weird. I think this card could be dropped altogether. It's a 1500 that gets 45 when she's placed on the stage from hand. So, I mean, she does become a 6k level 0, which is kind of nice, but I ultimately think it's not necessary, considering your level 1 is going to get power from Nikke's in the backstage. She'll be a 6k by herself. I do not think that's worth it, not for a 1-turn buff. It's just really not going to matter. I feel this could be dropped altogether. The Brainstorm, obviously there's probably better Brainstorms in the set that you could put in, but I'm just stating as the trial deck itself. So, Love Return to add me at 5 or more cards in hand. This gets 2k power, so it should be a 4k. It's kind of okay in terms of a starter. Honest, this is really interesting. It doesn't stand if you don't have another Nikke during your stand phase, but more than likely that's not going to come up. If it comes up, something's wrong. Her actual effect that you're going to use her for is when this card is placed on stage from hand, you can discard a card. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck and salvage back a character from your waiting room equal to the level of that revealed card. This is just really good in general. So to already have this just in the trial deck is very nice. Typically, people will be looking for this kind of effect in the booster set to try to add into a deck anyway, so it's really good. This one's very interesting. This Blanc works with this Noir. It has a bond with the vanilla Noir, but then on play, after you bond and grab it, you can put the Noir underneath her as a marker to search your deck for a Nikke, which is really interesting. It makes her become a drop searcher without a stock cost, which is really nice. I feel, and yes, I realize that would mean you'd have to run more of the vanillas. I feel you could get away with it and actually do a good bit of like saving like stock management and whatnot because it bonds with its target. I think you can get away with it. So I think this is a really good card I will be bumping up more of. And obviously, like I said, the vanilla you probably could get away with like 3 copies. I don't think a full playset's necessary at that point, but I think 3 copies is honestly fair. Rapunzel, let down your hair. She is a 500 assist in front and gives your other Nikke in the middle position character encore, which is just really nice for your Dorothy's. Like I said, she's going to be your level 1 combo. So keeping her alive is kind of an interesting thing, which I will get more to that in a little bit here. Then we have Snow White, I said before. On attack, you can pay 1, pitch 1 to search. As well as she runs away from the middle, she can run to the left or right if she's in the middle. So a little bit of a, the runner thing is kind of okay. That's not the craziest thing in the world, but it's a thing. We already talked about Scarlet, but also she can get a buff when you times the number of cards in your clock, which is just kind of funky. But this is a really good card. I feel this is going to definitely be like a 4 of for the deck. That's just me. Emma, she gets buff, and when on attack, you could send your climax to stock. I understand there's probably some niche cases where you would do that just to provide a little bit extra stock, but not really necessary. Then we have Yunhua, which if I'm mispronouncing that, apologies. This is reminiscent of the Ranga from Slime, a level 1 that on play, if you have another Nikke, gives itself 2k, so it'll be a 65 before any other buffs. The turn that she's placed on stage from hand, you can, when the battle opponent becomes reversed, pay 1, rest one of your other standing Nikkes to search your deck for a Nikke. Literally, it's red Ranga, so totally fine, not bad at all. The Dorothy, this is where your whole level 1 game's going to be focused around. So, gets 1,000 for each of your other Nikkes in the backstage. So you're going to also want some really good backstage, like level 0s or something. Like I said, like the Dorothy that gives buff and gives encore. Really nice. On attack, if you have 3 or more other Nikkes and the climax combo, look it up to 5, which is really nice. Not granted, you have to have at least 4 cards, but I'm assuming you're mostly going to have that. You're going to have 5 characters when this happens so that you get her full buff as well. So that's understandable. If you do, or look it up to 5, add a Nikke amongst them to hand. Would have been really nice if it was like a level 1 or higher card, because then you could also grab the event, but you can't. You have to worry about hard drawing the event, so that's the only downside. And then she gets an extra 1,000 power to end turn. So she's sitting at like 8k with the climax combo off of this before any other buffs, which is kind of nuts for level 1. And then she's still a 6k defensively, 6-5 if you have like the Rapunzel or something. I'm about to say the Dorothy. Red Hood here is your typical 1-1 standby combo. It becomes a 75 with character encore. Ludmilla is a level assist in front, and when you play a climax, you can give a character 3k power, which is just really, really nice buff. I really like this. Alice is a very interesting card as well. Oh, you have stuff that, early plays and stuff like that. This is kind of funny. During your turn, if you have a full field of Nikkes, this gets 5k power, and your opponent can't use events or backup from hand with battles involving her. So she becomes a 12-5 that you just do not give a fuck. You don't care what your opponent has, it's dead, which is just great. Short of them moving characters around on field. Vesti is a 3,500 backup. Neon is where we start to get some interesting stuff here, because I feel she's gonna be just as much of a supplement as your level 3 combo, and I'll explain that in a second here. Firepower rules Neon, 3/2 10k. On attack, you can put the top card of your deck into your waiting room. It is optional, but you can do it. If it's a Nikke, burn your opponent equal to the level of that card. So this can whiff if you mill a level 0, but 1, 2, and 3, you get to burn for that much, which is kind of nice, and I'm going to come back to that in a second. On attack, you can pay 1, pitch 1. She gets 2,500 power and +1 soul to the end of your opponent's next turn. Some very nice damage pushing with her. Your climax combo is Warhead Volley Rapi. She's a 3/2 10k. On play, you can discard a card to heal the top card of your clock into your stock, which is really nice and honestly helps her a lot. When this attacks, if you have no caller ID, which is the choice trigger, in your climax area, you can pay 2, pitch 1. Now, this is really nice, but I'm going to discuss this. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent twice. This gets 1,000 power till end of turn. Really nice there. This climax combo is not bad. It just doesn't have the pushing power. This is, as a finisher, has good closing power. Trying to burn your opponent multiple times, if you're really, really close to killing them, is going to be really, really nice to do, to try to make certain you can close out enough damage to win. Because the individual instances of damage, lot less chances of just outright canceling. So that's why I say the Neon is a bit more just as useful for this as the Roppy is, because the Neon you're trying to push for bigger numbers. She gives herself more soul. She's able to burn as well. A lot of your damage, your big pushing damage, like if you are behind in damage, like you just got pushed to level 3, your opponent's still like mid 2 or something, this is going to be the card to try to push for damage. And then if your opponent's really close to death, Roppy is going to be, trying to win and try to snatch that victory. So that's like just the understanding that I'm having here with this particular combo. You do have a little bit extra that you can do, and this is going to play into the level 3 event as well. New World Modernia is a 3/2. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can choose up to one character in your hand whose level is equal to or lower than your level. Put it on any position of your stage, and it gets an extra 2k power till end of turn. Just really big. Being able to do this lets you play 1, 2, 3. One of each of these for only 4 stock, which is interesting. Technically, only 3 stock because the Roppy could heal 1 card from clock to stock. So technically only 3 stock, you can play 3 level 3s, which is really interesting. The Modernia also has on attack, you can discard 2, put the bottom 4 of your opponent's deck into waiting room, burn equal to the number of climaxes that got sent from that effect. So it can summon, you can basically get extra bodies on the field, which is very useful for the event. And this is the last card of the deck. Light in Those Eyes. It's a 3/0 counter event that's going to matter in a second here. Choose one of the following 2 effects and perform it. Draw a card, discard a card, choose a character in battle, it gets +6 soul till end of turn, and put this card into your clock. So if you don't have Modernia on the field, you're going to use this first effect to try to make it so you're giving your opponent extra soul so that damage gets canceled, which is nice, but you are dealing yourself a damage. What you want to do, if at all possible, is the second effect. Choose one of your New World Modernia, which is the level 3 red right here. Send it to your memory. If you do, look at 2 cards from the top of your deck, put them back on top of your deck in any order. Choose one of your opponent's characters and rest it. Yeah, so as long as you, like I said, it sucks that you have to hard draw this, but it's whatever. If you're able to get that in the Modernia on field, she kind of pays for herself by summoning one of your other level 3s. Then she's a body on the field. You can side with her, you can front with her, whatever, as long as you can keep her on field so that you can use this event to rest counter one of your opponent's cards, which you should be able to get over a lot of stuff. If the Neon is able to buff itself, it should be big, should be able to get over most anything. If the Modernia summons Roppy is going to be a 13 with her climax combo, not counting if you're able to buff with like Ludmilla or something, right? So it's a very interesting setup here that you want. And like I said, I just have 2 in here for right now. We're going to go through, I'm going to build a deck in a moment here because I'm going to pause and I'm going to put together what I feel would be good if you bought 2 of these trial decks and just slapped them together. So I just want to go over each of the individual cards and see what we could do with that. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to put together what I think would be a really good combination of just the really, really good cards from 2 trial decks in here. Then we're going to go through and check each of the cards in the booster set really quickly. I'm not going to make this an hour-long video or anything, but I do want to point out a couple cool things. We're going to try to see what could be added to help improve the deck further. But for now, let's just do smashing of 2 trial decks together. So here we go. All right, and we are back, and this is just what I would edit to try to add in some extra copies and or remove some things, and I'll try to explain my reasonings really quickly. Obviously, like I said, this Scarlet is just too strong not to have like a play set of, really and truly. A lot of this other stuff, which even this Snow White probably could be taken out, like just my personal opinion. The Brainstorm is and this do not need to go to 3 because you're probably going to want at least one of these back row, and then you're going to eventually drop down the Ludmilla because being able to do the level assist plus the 3k attack boost is just kind of nuts here. The only other thing is I also bumped up, a couple other things. I bumped up the Blanc and Noir, like I said. I think you can get away with a 3 of each for the search effects. Like I said, since it is stock costless, which is just really nice, I think you can just get away with 3 of each of these. I believe this red hood is also something that could easily be taken out, but I will explain what I think needs to go in there instead. I think you need to find a 1-0, like a free 2K backup, and replace that in here with this, just to at least get you past level 1. Then at level 2, I honestly think the Vesties are going to hold out. Because like I said, with Dorothy, you're going to be sitting 6K defensively, and depending on what else you have in the back row, and once again, when we go through and see what other really cool cards could possibly be in here, I really feel that you could like make her big defensively, and then a 3,500 backup just to tell your opponent no is kind of funny. Lastly, I bumped up 1 copy of each of the level 3s just to have 3 of each in there. I honestly think the 2 of the event is perfectly fine. You could bump this up to 3, but once again, regardless, there's no way to just add it to hand. There's no searching effects right now. You would just have to hard draw it. So 2 is acceptable. 3 would probably, you would see it more than likely. And I also think like the Alice that just lets you like get rid of stuff like, oh, just guaranteed is going to kill something at 2 is perfectly nice. Everything else I just kind of left as is. Like I said, the Yunhua I left at 2, the Vestie left at 2, Dorothy was already at 4. The Brainstorm, it can stay at 2. Like I said, you have basically 6 cards that you're going to try to be putting into the backstage, and you can kind of just adjust from there as you go along. But I do feel the Scarlet needs to be a play set. I don't think Blanc and Noir need to be a play set each. I think just 3 is perfectly fine. That's just me. All right, so let's look through the cards in here. So you have quite a bit. If you were to try to stick just to yellow and blue, that's whatever. One of the nice things we can do here, though, is try to look up some cards. So the first thing I would say is trying to find anything like a Climax Swapper. Freema is a Climax Swapper, so we have an uncommon level 0 Climax Swapper. Just your typical pay 1, discard a Climax, 2 salvage back a Climax. So this is something you could try to include if you need to get one of your particular climaxes to hand. So an uncommon, very nice to get here, is Freema. Let's see. Next, we are going to... actually, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So this is going to do a twofold thing. So if I can find a 1-0. Okay, so this is interesting. It's an Eleg that is an anti-change at level 1. You have to discard 2 cards, and you send that character to your opponent's memory. But if your opponent knows that this is in your deck, this could definitely make them have to question their life choices. Let's see. This one's kind of nice. It's not a free 2K backup, but you do end up blind stocking afterwards, so it kind of pulls off the same effect. This is another +6 soul effect that you could do from Nihilister. We have a Memory Kick Nostalgia, so that's another big one you could possibly put in there. So the only anti-change in Nikke is going to be Eleg, and it's on a common. Let me double check, make certain I'm not overlooking anything. So if I wanted to do the idea of having a level 1 backup, I would probably take out the red hood here and put this particular sugar in there. But you also have to think of wanting to put Eleg in here most definitely. It's going to be like trying to squeeze in stuff. Honestly, this could come out and Eleg could go in there, and that's the much better choice. Honestly, probably could go 2 Eleg. That way you still have like 1,000 backup, which is something. And then once you hit level 2, you can use your 3,500 backups. So just good thing to point out there. So let's see. The last thing I would want to look up really quickly here, and like I said, there's a lot of other cards in here, but that's kind of the big ones. So Climax Swappers, anti-changes, your off finishers. Like I said, right now, Neon's going to be doing the heavy lifting in terms of trying to really push for damage, and Rappi is going to close out the fights. So let's take a look really quickly at just the level 3s. And just because we only are running yellow and red in here, I'm going to sort first by yellow, just to see what we have for level 3s. We have some other interesting ones in here. Laplace ends up like doing some really crazy stuff, but you have to like pay a really hefty cost, so I wouldn't worry with that one. That's a Climax combo. That's a Climax combo. There's Tia. All right, so nothing in yellow. Let's take a look at red really quickly here. So Alice is already sticking out. What do you do? Okay, so this is an early play. Alice, she is, it says SR. I don't know why that says SR up there. Whatever. It has some removal and a on play discard a Nikke to heal the top card of your clock to your hand. So very nice there. So once again, early play healers could obviously be something you toss in there. A lot of the other ones are climax combos. Let's see. Okay, so this isn't the best in the world, but it is a thing. This Modernia can be played for 0 cost if you sack a specific Madian. On play, you can choose a Nikke character in your clock, put it on the bottom of your deck, so you get to heal the bottom of the deck. On attack, pay 3, pitch 2, burn 4, which is like, that's a lot of damage. That is really, really nice. It's a hefty cost, but it is slightly better than like the variable damage from Neon, but at least Neon can like push for a good bit. Let's see. So all finishers are kind of funky for this, but I feel you could do the other level 3 Modernia here if you really just wanted to have something like push for damage. Or if you needed to close out the deal with Roppy, you could do that. And the Alice is obviously going to be very good. The Modernia is only a rare, so that is something that you could work with there. To which, I mean, you could just change up the Roppy combo, because there's another level 3 Roppy in the set. I don't know. It just says SR up here. I don't know if this is a double rare to begin with or what. But it does have an interesting effect. When Victory for Mankind is played, and you have 2 other specific, it says Firepower Rules and Mood Maker Honest. You can pay 1, pitch 1, and all of your other center stage characters get the following ability until end of turn. Up to once per turn when damage dealt by this card is canceled, stand this card. This is going to be very interesting. It also heals 1 on play. So let us look for the Honest really quick, because I don't remember what color that was. Name Honest. Okay, so we're looking at yellow. And this is an uncommon as well, so this could work very, very well. Possibly swapping out for your actual, like, trying to push for damage. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, pay 2, pitch 2, burn 5. So if you need to push for damage, and you can still stand off this effect if you have the Honest, not the Honest, but the other Roppy effect. Which we're just going to go ahead and pull it up once more just to show. I feel if you were to just do like a simple little like swap over, this would probably be a very interesting pickup. I just don't know if it's a double rare or not. But the other 2 cards that work with it are the Neon, which is also burning, then the Honest, which is trying to do some burn, and then she does like the stands shenanigans. I feel this could be a very interesting replacement. I just don't remember if it is a double rare or not. But anyway, other than that, like I said, the deck has certain things, and I wanted to point out stuff in the booster set that could upgrade it. And there's honestly a lot of other very interesting cards in the set. It's just such a huge set to go over. I don't want to turn this into like another 45-minute video or something of that nature. So I'm just going to end it here with thank y'all very much for watching. I personally am going to be picking this up and trying to see what I can do to upgrade, like just slapping 2 trial decks together. Obviously, also try to see if I can pull an SP or something from it. It'd be really cool. But thank y'all very much for watching. Good luck on your pulls if you are trying to go for Nikke and picking up boxes of it. Like I said, it's going to be a really crazy set. I'm interested to see if people take it to Worlds as well, but I also want to see if any of y'all are interested trying to see what you can cook up with the trial deck stuff, what other combos you think could be changed around or whatever. By all means, feel free to join the Base Damage Discord and throw your deck ideas in the Decklist Submissions or the Community Fridays channel. It'd be really appreciated. Once again, good luck. Thank y'all very much, and we will see y'all on the flip side. Stay based.